In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about why it's so important and crucial to use some kind of CRM in your business for future growth and how this can have such a negative impact if you don't. Like it's super important to do. Now, in this episode, I'll talk a lot about Jobber because that's what you use, but this is really applicable to any CRM that you want to use because it's going to be universal regardless of what brand you use. But if you do want to give Jobber a try, I am an ambassador. We've been using that software for the last 5-6 years now. If you want to get a free 14-day trial plus a special discount, you can click the link down below and give it a try. Again, we literally live and use Jobber every single day in our business. So if you want to give that a try, click down below, but let's get started with this episode. Here's one thing that you really need to have in your business, especially if you have the goals to grow your business to whatever that means to you, whether it's going from 1,000 a month to 5,000 or 5,000 to 10,000 to 10,000 to 30,000, whatever the case may be. You need to have this in your business, and that's going to be a CRM, a customer relationship management system or software, whatever you want to call it. So, and like I'm sponsored, I'm an ambassador for Jobber. We've been using it for 5 years. This is going to be applicable to whatever CRM that you use, whether it's Square, whether it's Urable, whether it's Field, whether it's HouseCop Pro, whether it's Jobber, whether it's, the dozens of other platforms that are out there, doesn't matter. But this is a vital software you need to have in order to run your business. So and I'll say this, when you're first getting started, well, I'm gonna say a lot of things. When you're first getting started, you don't need to spend money on a CRM, right? Because now there are like every CRM is gonna have a different tier in terms of some are free, some are like a core tier where like it gives you the bare minimum. Square is free. So, but when you're first getting started, you don't need to spend money on a CRM. You don't need to go spend $70 a month or $50 a month or $30 a month or whatever case on getting a CRM. Because you have something like Square, which is free. And Square will allow you to send quotes, send invoices, get paid on the invoices, schedule your customers, keep track of their phone, email, and those basic things. Now, there's a lot of limitations to Square, especially, again, if you continue to grow your business. Like, there's a lot of things that you need to implement that because Square is so general and so generic, it's not really built for, like, service businesses, and especially to, like, if you want to have more robust things going on in your CRM. Nonetheless, though, something like Square is fantastic if you're just getting started because you don't have the revenue. You're not making much money, if any money at all. Like, maybe you're just in the beginning phases, or you're making, like, less than $1,000 a month. Maybe you have, 1 or 2 cars per week, something like that. So in the beginning phases, you don't need a paid, like, hey, I want to go for a Jobber or for whatever the software. Like, it's like, you don't need to pay for that. Now, if you're getting to the point where you have 2, 3, 4 customers per week, that's when it makes sense to get a more robust system. And if you have plans to grow your business where you want to go to 10, 20, 30,000 a month, where you want to get a team, you would want to make that jump faster because you want a more robust system will yield you far better results in terms of what you can automate and the system that you can implement to help you grow and help streamline some of your operations and what you needed to do. Right. So like, and there's going to be a lot of things, like, for instance, like just even sending out a quote, right? Or someone paying a deposit, let's say. If you're asking the customer to Zelle you, let's say it's a $200 detail, and you're asking the customer to Zelle you $20 because that's going to be the deposit, right? If you're doing 1 or 2 customers a week, you can get away with that. When you get to 3, 4 customers per week, and each one is going to Zelle you a deposit, and then now you have to track, hey, did they send me 20 or did they send me 50 for the deposit? And then you have to go and look for the payment, and then you have to go and subtract that, and it starts to get a lot more cumbersome, and it's a lot more things you have to juggle in your head versus just running the business. So, if you're if you get to 5 customers a week and each one is required, like let's say you require a deposit, and the deposit is, let's say, $20. Let's say like, hey, if it's under 300, you do 20, but if it's over 300, you require 50. Well, now you're juggling different amounts, and then you have to remember, okay, who paid me 20, who paid me 50, did they pay me at all? And if you're asking people to Zelle you, Cash App you, what have you, well, it's like, okay, now you have to go in there and find that person. And it just, again, when you're starting to grow the business and you want to continue to get more customers on the schedule and deal with more customers and more cars and do all these things, these little things just slow you down and make everything so much more complicated than what it needs to be. So like, I'm going to use the example of Jobber because that's what we've been using the last 5 years now. With Jobber, when you send out a quote to someone, they can approve the quote and then they can also pay the deposit on that quote. Because when you create the quote, you can also add, hey, this quote includes a deposit, and then it says, hey, the deposit is going to be, $50, let's say. So when it gets sent over to the customer and they approve the quote, it then says pay the deposit. And that deposit, let's say it's 50, it gets applied to that quote, to that job. So now when you go to invoice them, right, when you're done with the job and you're going to go accept payment, when you convert that job into an invoice, it says, it'll give you the details, right, whatever, $200 detail. A $50 deposit has already been paid. So the remaining balance is $150. So there is no like, oh, what did they pay? And did they send me the deposit? And like, let me do the math real quick. Everything is right there in plain sight in a professionally made quote invoice that keeps track of all of that for you. And taking it a step further, if you want to like, a big part of running a proper CRM is having the insights, like the data, right? That gives you more insight. I'm gonna say the word insights. It gives you more insights into your business in terms of the numbers. So like, and this is just one example of the deposits, right? I think I mentioned this in another episode or an email to where I said, if you have no core hub for your business, meaning you don't have a centralized tool, a centralized software where you run all your business through, you can never pull an actual report or look at data properly because everything is so scattered. So for instance, if you have someone pay you through Zelle and you have someone pay you through Cash App and you have someone pay you through cash, like physical cash, and you don't deposit that into your bank account and report that in your CRM, then let's say at the end of the year, you said, how much money did I make for the year in my business? Well, now you have to go look at the Zelle and see what you received. And we have to hope that you're only getting Zelled business money and you're not convoluting it with personal and business because that is technically like not right. So then you have to go to Zelle and see all the business payments. Then you have to go to Cash App and see all the business payments. And then let's hope that in some way, some form, some fashion, you tracked all your cash and maybe you didn't deposit it, which and like mark it as cash in your CRM, but maybe you have a little notebook that writes down, yeah, hey, I got paid $50 cash or $200, whatever. So then you have to take, and then let's say that you have the credit card payments and you're using Square. So like, hey, I have online payments as well. So now you're checking Zelle. Now you're checking Cash App. Now you're checking for physical cash. Now you're checking your online transactions, right? So then you say, well, how much money did I make? It's like, well, I think I made, 4,000 through Zelle and 4,000 through Cash App. And I think maybe I got 2,000 through cash. And then I had, I'm making a number here, 10,000 through online transactions. But the problem is, even if you can break all these things apart, you don't have a clear-cut view of your actual business numbers. What was your highest grossing month for the year? Was it January or was it August? That's a pretty big difference because now what you can start to see after you have all your transactions and all the insights and data going through one platform is that now you can see year after year patterns forming. Oh, hey, look, the last 3 years, August has been our biggest month, or hey, March has been the biggest month, or vice versa. Hey, September over the last 3 years has been our lowest month, right? If you're not keeping everything going through one hub, let's say Jobber here, or whatever one you want to use, but let's say you're not keeping everything going through one central hub, you won't be able to build these insights in your business. So then you want to say, okay, hey, how many jobs did we do that were that were, I'm trying to think of it, that were that, let's take a service. What's the most popular service that we did? And again, let's say you're not creating quotes, so you're not creating line items for your services. So you're just like sending like a general detail quote that has the price for like the whole job. Well, now you can't break down how many ceramic coatings did we do last year, because you're grouping everything together. Like, if there's 4 services that you do, but you're grouping it into one detail, like one line item of, oh, this was a detail. Well, now you're not how many ceramic coatings did we do? How many interior details did we do? How many how many paint correction did we do? How many headlight restoration did we do? Well, you don't have that number. And I mean, I guess maybe if you went back through all your phone calls, your text messages, your emails, you could probably gather that information. But like, how much time are you spending going through and parsing everything together versus just having everything in one centralized location? And this is just one of many examples, right? Clocking in and out, right? If you want to grow your business and you want to have a team and you want to get to that level, you need to have a system for employees to clock in and out. You need to have employees to clock in and out on every job. You need to have a system to know and go back and to make sure, hey, okay, yeah, you worked, that's 8 hours, that's 7 hours, that's 6 hours that they worked. Because then, oh, hey, look, you were clocked in for 12 hours on this job. What happens? Oh, I forgot to clock out until I got home at 6 p.m. It's like, okay, let me go adjust that, right? You don't want to have this, you don't want to share a notes app together and say, yeah, just enter your information on how many hours you worked there. Yeah, so let me check my notes. Yeah, he said he worked on Monday 9 to 2, and then on Tuesday 9 to 3, and then on Wednesday 9 to 1. Like it's too much when you're trying to grow the business. Like, trust me, there's so many things you have to do to grow the business, whether it's on the marketing, whether it's your website, SEO, meta ads, Google ads, right? You can do that's revamping your website to make it better at conversions. You can be posting content on TikTok or Instagram. You can be running, optimizing your landing page. You could be following up with customers. You can be sending out more quotes. You can be doing so many things that you don't want to spend the time doing these mundane little tasks of like, oh, let me go look at the emails and see, how many, or let me go look at my Zelle account and see who's paid the deposit so far. These little things eat up your time and your mental bandwidth. So if you can have everything in a central location, it makes everything so much better. And like, again, with Jobber that we use, everything is very professional and it's very professional looking. So like a thing that separates us when people always ask, like, how do I separate myself from the competition? Well, when we talk to someone on the phone and we're like, oh yeah, sure thing, Bobby. Yeah, we can definitely do that for you. Hey, what I did right now is I'll send you over the quote via text message right now. So let's say they want a interior detail and a wash. Yeah, so I'll send you that quote over right now. It's going to be $240 for the interior and $60 for the wash. So if you want to go ahead and take care of that for me, you could just approve that quote, pay the deposit. The deposit is $20. Let's say the deposit is $20. This isn't an extra fee or anything like that. This simply goes towards the total job of the total price of the job. So it's a $300 detail. The deposit is $20, but on the day of the detail, once we're done, the remaining balance is $280. That way, it's still $300. We just require deposit on all our jobs to be booked in our schedule, and it's a professionally good looking quote. They press it. It's all like super nice. It's intuitive. They approve the quote. Then it says, hey, pay the deposit. They can save the card information on there. They press pay. We get an email that says, hey, this quote has been approved and the deposit has been paid. And it's a much heightened professional level of doing business versus just, not requiring a deposit or okay, cool. I'll just see you at 9 a.m. Like no further information, no text confirmation. Once we get that quote approved, we then go into Jobber. We convert that quote into a job, schedule that job. Once we save that job in the calendar, we press a button that says text booking confirmation to the customer. Then the customer gets a confirmation text saying, hey, Bobby, your appointment is confirmed for tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thanks from the team. And it's automated. Oh, it's not automated. It's automated where it's a one-click way. We click it once and then we send a text message out. So a way we're able to separate ourselves from the dozens and dozens of other detailers in our area, or at least the 3 other detailers that the customer called before us, or is also calling us, is that we're just at a much higher professional level. Like, oh man, like, yeah, I spoke to 3 other detailers. This is the first person that sent me a quote that I can actually see the quote online, like through my phone. This is the only detailer that requires a deposit, but they're so professional about it. It's all well laid out. They break everything down. The person that was talking on the phone was very professional. They answered all my questions. So even if we're more expensive, we're like, okay, well, we see why they're more expensive because like they have an actual process down and like they seem a lot more legit and it's a lot more professional over here. So yeah, let me go with them. So having a central CRM like that helps you out a lot in the business insights and employees clocking in and out, or having a central place to look at their schedule, or on your end that like, again, like you don't have to go and do all these little mundane tasks of like, let me go look at Zelle. Who's paid the deposit? Let me, Cash App me. Oh, I don't have Cash App. Well, do you have Zelle? Yeah, I have Zelle. And it's just too much. And again, if you are looking to grow your business and that is what you want to do, like, man, I really want to get to 10,000 a month. This is like not even a question. You need to have a proper CRM that you utilize to its fullest extent, because so many people, whether you're using Square or you're able or Jobber, so many detailers are not using the software to its full capacity. And maybe I don't mean like you literally have to use every single feature, but at least use what will be most beneficial to you in your capacity. So like, yeah, maybe you don't need to use like XYZ features, but hey, ABC features over here are like exactly what you need. And like, you haven't even set that up. Right. And that's why when it goes like to this whole, like, oh, there's so much AI and AI this and AI phone call and AI scheduling and AI this and AI that. I don't need you to worry about AI if you don't even have your bank details synced up to your CRM. You don't need to worry about AI if you don't even have a line item for every service that you offer in your business. Like, let's worry about the core things that we need regardless of what we're using. Let's get to that first before we start talking about AI. AI is fantastic. ChatGPT, Gronk, whatever. Like, AI is fantastic. If I tell you to show me your CRM, most people will say, like, oh, I don't really use one. And then if I ask you, well, let me see how your team clocks in and out. Well, I don't really have a team. Or, oh, well, I just tell them to pull up at 9 a.m. and that we might work till 1 p.m. Right? Again, let me see show me the last 10 quotes that you sent out through your CRM. Oh, well, I just texted to the customer. Like, these are the things that like make such a big difference. And like, a lot of people say like, oh, well, I don't need it because I've been doing it this way. For sure. Like if you're doing it one way and again, like you're not going to go hire someone or you're not trying to push your goals and hit higher numbers, like it's fantastic. Like it's not, that's why I say if you're just getting started, you don't need to pay for CRM. If you're looking to stay by yourself and not really push the numbers forward and grow, you don't really need to change them. Just keep on doing what you're doing because it's working. Like it's just you. But if you want to grow the business, even if it's just solo you, but like you want to go from 4 cars to 6 cars, let's say, that's a lot for you to manage on your own, doing everything manually, right? Having a central hub just streamlines everything and makes everything so more efficient because everything runs through one platform. Now, that's why I say you need a central hub, because even for us, we have other tools that we use that Jobber doesn't do for us. So like one, for instance, is going to be Company Cam. Company Cam we use that to take photos and videos and track the progress of the detail. We also send that Company Cam link to our customers so they can see their car getting detailed and see the progress that we're making. So that's completely separate from Jobber. Like Jobber doesn't have that functionality, which is fine, right? Because no software tool is going to do literally everything that you want it to do. But we have Jobber. We have Company Cam synced up with Jobber. So when we create a new job inside of Jobber, Company Cam automatically creates a project based off that job. So that's why I say there's a central hub that you need. Jobber is where we live most of the time, 80, 90% of the time. But then there's other tools that we use that connect to Jobber that help us with our operations. So again, Company Cam, we create a job for Bobby for 9 a.m. tomorrow. tomorrow 9 a.m. when we started the job, there's already a project in Company Cam that says Bobby, let's say. That's why I call it the central hub. For instance, our sales process. Right now, we use a software called Pipedrive, right? So what happens is a customer submits a form to our website. Here's another tool that we use, and I've been using this tool for like since 2017 probably. We use Zapier. So when someone submits a form on our website, we connect our website to Pipedrive through a Zapier. It's called a Zap. So we take the information from our form and it gets transferred over to Pipedrive, which is our sales prices, our sales pipeline. And the sales pipeline keeps track of, we have different columns. So like, a new lead column, have not made contact column, made contact column. We have different columns to based on a different stage that person is in. Once we like, if we send a quote, because we try to send a quote to everyone, right? So when we send a quote, the potential customer's information is already in Jobber because we use Zapier and we created a Zap to take the customer's information from the web form and transfer it over to Jobber. So now, when we're using the sales pipeline through Pipedrive and we're going to send a quote, we already have the information from the form in Jobber. So again, even though we're using a separate tool to manage our sales pipeline, when we go and send a quote through Jobber, again, being our central hub, we already have the information. So now we just have to look for the customer's information, create that quote, and then send it off. So at the core of everything that we do, even though we are using Pipedrive for sales, Company Cam for tracking our details and our progress, Jobber is at the core of everything. And yes, we pay for all these tools because, like, again, we're growing our business. We're trying to grow and get to new levels. But the point I'm making here, not that you have to go and get Pipedrive or go get Company Cam. What I'm saying is that's why I call it a central hub, because there might be another tool that you need that does something very specific, and that, yes, it's like, because technically even like Company Cam, like I think it's trying to be like a CRM as well, but that's not what we use it to track, to take photos and videos of the customer's details. That's why I call it a central hub. Because in the future, again, depending where you are and what you want to grow, or a tool that you find that you want to use, it might do a very specific task. But our main central hub for us is going to be Jobber. And then there's just so many other things that, like, for instance, there's just so many other things that having a centralized CRM that collects all this data for you is so important. Like, let's just look at your numbers, right? And you wanted to say, for instance, what's been our biggest week for the year? What's our biggest month for the year? What's our biggest day for the year? Right? Like, if I ask you this question right now and you literally can't answer it in under 2 seconds, this is why it's a big problem. What's your average ticket price? If you can't just immediately give me that answer, you don't have an understanding of your numbers. And I kid you not, like, if you can't answer that question in 2 seconds, you do not have an understanding of your numbers in your business, which is a big deal, because this will also affect everything else that you do in terms of scheduling, in terms of running ads, in terms of profitability, in terms of like all these things make a big difference. So what is your average ticket price right now? Well, it depends. No. What's your average ticket price? I'm not saying it's correction coding. I'm not saying if it's interior detail. What is your average ticket price right now? That's an important number to know. Or next, what is your booking rate, or what's your close ratio, depending on how what terminology you want to use. But basically, of the amount of quotes that you sent out, how many of those got approved? If you sent 10 quotes and 2 were approved, that means you have a 20% booking rate or a 20% close ratio, however you want to use it. Can you give me that answer objectively? Like, in the last 30 days, what is your close ratio or booking rate, however you want to call it? What is your booking rate? Oh, well, I don't know. Like, I seen quite a few, I talked to a lot of people, and some of them seem kind of skeptical on signing up, and some seem interested, but you know what, when I get them the price, they kind of ghost me. So I'd kind of say about maybe 20%. That's not an objective number that you can look at. That's like a part of a bigger system. That's you just guessing, right? if you're using a proper CRM that gives you all these numbers and you're sending quotes out to all the leads that you get, you should be able to look at your close ratio and say, yeah, in the last 30 days, we're at 42%. But over the last 6 months, we've actually been around 47%. So we're a little down right now, but that's fine because of seasonality or whatever, or we just recently increased our prices. So we were expecting a little slight bump going down in our close ratio because our prices are a bit higher. Without these insights, you are literally flying blind. And it makes it makes it so much more difficult to know, hey, should we raise our prices? Or hey, how profitable are we? Or hey, what are our budgeted hours on this job? Or hey, can we afford a hire, and how much can we pay them? And we want to spend money on marketing. How much can we afford? Not even knowing the basic things of like what's your average ticket price or what's your close ratio or how many leads are we getting per week or per month. These are like absolute vital numbers that you need in your business that are at the core of how you're going to grow your business. And so many detailers cannot give me answers to these questions. That's it. Oh, like I said, let's see. In the last 30 days, I probably talked to about 15 people and some are interested, but when I tell them the price, some of them don't respond. So I don't know if I should respond. And well, someone called me yesterday and like they wanted a book, but then they didn't. So I think maybe like 15%. Like that's not, you can't grow the business like that. And I mean, and again, you can, trust me, you absolutely can. The difference being though, is that you literally are flying blind. Again, just because there's a company out there that's booked out, that has a team, that they're running ads, that they're saying we're booking $1,000 jobs in, that literally means nothing. That they're profitable or that they're successful or that the business isn't running on absolute thin margins. Just because there's a booked out schedule that they're making $1,000 on each car, it means nothing. That's why, again, like I've been stopped saying about like today is a $2,200 detail and today we made $4,000 and this was a $11,000 week. I've been stopped saying that because it's so easy to mislead people to think you're doing so much better than what you actually are. And without knowing those numbers and without actually understanding what numbers you need, you're flying blind the entire time. And again, this is why, like, if you just run everything through one central hub, this helps you out a lot. If every payment, whether they, like, again, even if they pay you cash, like for us in Jobber, when they pay us cash, we go into the invoice, we create the invoice, we mark payment as cash. That way it gets registered in our CRM. And then we go deposit the money sometime before the month ends. We'll go deposit the money in the bank account. That way everything we do, every payment we have goes through Jobber and we have all those insights in there. We clock in on every job. Well, we clock in and out of every job, right? So we can see how long we're taking on each job. We have our close ratio there. We send quotes out to almost every lead that comes our way. We're able to see over the last 6 months, 9 months, over the last year, over the last 30 days, over the last 7 days, what our close ratio is or what our average ticket price is. We can see how many leads we get through form submissions in Jobber. Like, these are the important things that like gives you business insights. BI, it gives you business insights. It helps you see, again, at the end of the year, you're saying, oh, I think we had a really good year. How much money did you make? Maybe like 60,000. Oh yeah. And what was your most popular service? What was your average ticket for the year? I don't know. Right. And like for the average ticket, just take the amount of jobs that you have divided by the amount of jobs. And you can find these numbers easily, but then like in Jobber, we very easily can say, how many jobs did we do this month? Was it 10? Was it 30? Was it 60? Right? How many jobs did we do over the last 60 days? How many jobs did we do between this date and this date? It's that many jobs. Super, like it just, boom, we have all these numbers there because we track everything goes through Jobber. There's never one job or one payment or one anything that doesn't go through Jobber. That way at the end of the year, when we look at Jobber and we say, okay, hey, let's pull reports on this. And not just end of the year, but like the end of the quarter, end of the month, for this week, for this day. Hey, let's pull the report on this, pull the report on that, right? On these numbers, on that number. Hey, let's look at this. And hey, over the last 3 months, have we seen a change in something? And hey, man, let's look at the services. And has this shifted to this or whatever? We can pull all these insights. because we run everything through a central hub. Like we can look at, hey, when we first started doing tint, what were we charging? And what car was it on? And what date was it? And how long did we take? We have all that. And then now we can compare that. Hey, let's compare it a year and a half later, which is now. And now what are we charging? And how long are we taking? And we can see that we can see the exact comparison. If you don't run everything through a central hub, you literally cannot do any of this. Now you have no business insights. And which is why it's so important to do this much sooner than later. Because if you don't do it like now, and you're like, oh, it would be so great to look back at September 2025 and see what we were making. Well, if you're not tracking this now, you can't go back and do it. Like the transactions are done, the jobs are done. It's you can only start now. You can't backtrack it. So, anyways, that's probably gonna be it right there. I could probably on the next lesson, I'll probably talk. I'll show you more in depth in terms of me using Jobber. Give you a walkthrough. I'll try to do a maybe on the main detail group channel. I'll go through and give you an actual how-to tutorial, or maybe should I do it here? I'm not sure where I'll do that one, but on this next one, I'll use a dummy account. And I will kind of break down how Jobber looks and how we send quotes and invoices and templates and all these things and give you more. Because I don't think I've ever made a video. I've been using them for 5 years, but I've actually been I created my first account back in 2014, and I used it for a little bit, and then I stopped, and it wasn't until 2017, I think. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Anyways, I don't know. I've been using them. I've been knowing about them, and I created my account much longer than what I've actually been using them. I've been knowing of them for a long time. Anyways, I'll make a video. I was gonna say as long as I've been using them and have been an ambassador of them, which again I've been using them longer than I have been an ambassador. I'll make a video on the actual setting it up. Let's say. So, anyways, I'll end it right there. Hopefully, this gave you some insight into why it's so important to have a central hub of a CRM to use in your business. Again, whether it's Jobber, your Rabel, Square, HouseCall Pro, whatever you want to use, it's hyper important to have a central hub. That'll be it. Again, if you want to get a free 14-day trial with a special discount for Jobber, you can click the link down below somewhere. It'll be there, and you can try it out. Other than that, I'll talk to you guys on the next one.